Now let's compare the builds between DELOS 2.0 and Freedom. I remember when we first started doing the shell plate, and I say we people, it's a team effort. I'm holding the camera, no comment. So Adonis put in the first shell plate. It's about 6 meters long, maximum you can get. It's unbelievable the size that they do here. And this was a slightly different shape, this and this wheel. And he did one shell plate, and I looked at it and it looked pretty good to me. But he wasn't happy with it, and he said, come over here and run your hand over it. And when I ran my hand over it, you could feel very gentle corrugations. And so he then took these wheels off, took it to a machinist, and they modified it. Brought it back, we did another few more rounds. He also wasn't happy with it. And I think we went back twice, and he also did a modification here. And now we're happy with it. Now it fits these boats of this size. And we have fairly tight radii on the boat with the narrow hulls, as you can see. For bending shell plate, the main aim is to bend the metal just enough to achieve the desired shape. We don't want to damage the shell plate or leave imperfections in it. Because you've got to stress the metal to actually bend it. If you look at this, actually we're going to go on the other side so you can see it, because it's better when you see things in reflections. You can see the imperfections better. And if I run my hands along here, it's smooth. And if you look at the actual print, you can see that where it's actually pressing the metal, it's actually quite wide. It's not quite as wide as the wheel, but it's quite wide still. When you have a thin wheel like this, you can see the grooves left in the metal. This is unnecessarily stressing the metal in a much smaller area. Let's compare the tracks left by our English wheel bender here. There are no grooves, just wide tracks where the metal over a wide area has been bent to take the designed shape. Narrow wheels will bend the metal, sure, but it is unnecessarily stressing it over a smaller area, leaving corrugations of 1 or 2 millimeters. Then you have to deal with that later in another process. And another thing that was brought to my attention was the accuracy. When you do CNC cutting, it's unbelievably accurate, and I covered that in earlier videos. So obviously there's a few people just watching the DELOS and then they've actually only just come to my channel. Not many people, because my numbers are still in the toilet. Someone mentioned that Brian said that there was a 4 mil, they were only out by 4 mil on the entire length. Well, depends on the time of day he measures it. On a 17 metre boat, which is what I'm assuming Brian's boat is, a 10 degrees temperature rise or fall, for example between early morning and afternoon, will be about 4 millimeters. So if he wants to get it spot on, just measure early in the morning or later in the afternoon, depending on what measurement you want. So it doesn't really make any sense. Accuracy is unbelievable. I mean, I also mentioned that these shell plates, which are much more complicated than the DELOS boat, I mean, these are highly compounded, tapered and compounded. They've got special programs that actually drape the metal so they can get the exact size. But of course, remember the green line? They have a 50 mil overlap on all the measurements, so they can manhandle it in. So see the discoloration there? So there's a whole bunch of people watching the DELOS build and comparing the DELOS build to our build. Probably not a wise thing to do, because I've actually stopped work for like 4 months on this. So people are going, oh, what's happening here? Why are you slowing down for? But they're laser cutting their material. Now this boat was actually plasma cut, and when you plasma cut, the aluminium sits above a water bar, and the water bar splashes up and it tarnishes it. Well, it takes the shine off the aluminium, but it makes no difference in the end, because the aluminium has to be prepared for painting or the final surface preparation if you just want to have it, you know, some swirly pattern on it. So it makes absolutely no difference. But I will show you hulls 3 and 4, which actually have all been laser cut, because Adonis bought the laser cutting machine. And so all the panels are all shiny. See, here's what happens to all aluminium boats eventually. Even if I wasn't going to paint it, they still do this, and then they'll put some kind of swirl pattern in it, whatever I like. But surface preparation for paint, they have to grind all of the, because there's impurities, because it comes, the aluminium comes with a plastic sheet on it, and no doubt there's some silicon or binding chemical that the actual plastic sits on the aluminium with. These have all been laser cut, they are coated, and they have directions, so there can be no mistakes. And this is the final product with hulls 3, 4, 5 and 6. So yes, these boats here and DELOS 2.0 were shinier than mine at the start, but now mine's pretty good indeed, people. Let's take a look at the massively sized shell plates that we use on this build. The sheets only come in 6 metre lengths, and we are practically using the full length wherever we can. The smallest sheet is 3.5 metres here, as you can see, but only because we ran out of boat. These larger sizes require tender loving care to get all the right bends in it, with one sheet taking up to 4 hours to do. But it is worth it because the larger the size, the fewer the welds and the stronger the hull will be. As you can see here with the DELOS build, the shell plates are much smaller, and these are the ones underwater. Oh, I don't like that. I prefer larger sheets and fewer welds. That's the way to go. Alright, teams. I know what you're thinking, people, and you'd be right. My sign language skills are beyond anything you have ever seen before. Stick around, I might show you a thing or two. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get 5.
What is the name of your channel?
Gonna get another spike, people. Another 2 subscribers. I'll show you. You internet?
Mẹ hỏi kênh YouTube của ông là gì?
One 0 people. Now, no comments about the 8 and 10-year-olds. Yes, I'm a grown man playing against 8 and 10-year-olds. I think there's a 7-year-old. There's one 17-year-old. He came later. But it can't be too bad because they're always banging on my door to play. Now, I think this is Saturday night or Sunday night, so this is the usual thing. So it's about 8:30 or something. So let the games continue.
Okay.
Bugger, they brought in some more players against us.
YouTuber?
Yeah? Say hello?
Can I destroy?
Oh, I'll show you later. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, shit. Oh, man, he goes.
On the goal. We thrashed them that night. No comments, people, but it brings to mind a story that I have playing soccer when I was a kid. Under 12s. Picture this. Under 12s. It's grand final day. This is the last game of the season. We're in the grand final against another team. Can't remember what their name. And I think we're pretty evenly matched because in the normal season games, it was 1-1. And so, who's going to win? Anyway, thousands of people around our field. Under 12s. I thought I already said that. Anyway, I'm right wing. I'm pretty fast. I'm not the fastest on our team anyway. And so it's 1-1. 1-1. And thousands of people, did I mention thousands of people? Maybe 25 people, but my mum's pretty loud, so thousands of vocal people. And second half, we've got to win, 1-1. I think I've already said that. Anyway, someone passes to me in my half, and I'm running up the right wing, and I only just cross into their half. And I see out of the corner of my eye, our left winger going flying down. And I go, right, kick the ball, and somewhere near between him and the goalie, and he'll either head it in or kick it in. I don't know, that's his problem. So I go to kick the ball, and I kick it, and I kick it very poorly, people, like super poorly, and it rolls off the top of my foot, and I sky it. It just goes high, but in the rough direction I was, wanting to kick it, and sky high, and it's going towards the goal. And you can see the goalie, he's indecisive. He doesn't know whether to run forward and catch it on the full, or wait till it bounces and then catches on the bounce. But then if you catch it on after the bounce, then there's more time for our left winger to come in and do some damage. And so you could see him, and he's running forward and running back, running forward, running back. And this ball, I've never seen a ball go so high. Completely terrible shot. And he runs forward, and then he changes his mind right at the last moment. He goes back, and the ball bounces just in front of him, and then bounces over his head into the goal. 2-1, we won the grand final. And at the end of the game, which was not only a few minutes later, my brother, always the alcoholic, he's got a cold beer in his hand. I was so thirsty, hot day. I grabbed his beer, it was probably 3/4 full. I'm only 11. Drained it. The end of a great day. The GoFundMe campaign is in its 21st week, and we are 60% of the way to our goal. Now, who goes up on the column of heroes this week? We have Bob Glems, who has been a long-time supporter of the channel, who is already up on the champions column of the column of heroes. So in fact, he's a double champion on the column of the That's a lot of columns, people. Let's just leave it at that. We also have David Peck for the 3rd time, and he now also is a double champion on the column of heroes. We also have Mark Cohen, also a long-time PayPal supporter, and he goes up on the column of heroes too. Sorry, the column of heroes. To be drawn up on the boat, we have Ted Gotterback for the 2nd time, Andrew Maloney for the 3rd time, Rick Hollingsworth for the 3rd time, Ron Malinowski for the 3rd time, John Moore, Eric Barron, William Shirk, Jonathan Cohn, Robert Baker, and Practical Homeopathy. Send me an email, homeopathy, and I'll put your real name up. Okay, this is a bit of an update. So this is happening right now. There was, up until a couple of days ago, a massive, an 80-foot boat, but only 2/3 of it here. The last third is at the back. I'll show some footage of that. So in the last 3.5 months, so say 14 weeks, hull 3 and 4 are almost complete. Of course, we all know my boat hasn't had much work done in the last 4 months. We all know the reason, no need to go into that. Hull 2, let's have a look at Hull 2. Hull 2 is almost finished, and the painting is currently, the preparation, the filling is getting done right now. So check out Hull 3 and 4. Just beautiful. And these boats didn't actually have a full complement of guys on it. Something like half to 2/3 crew. At the moment, everyone's having lunch. Let's take a look at Hull 2. Remember I mentioned before that when you actually weld flat aluminium, it's hard to keep it straight, it deforms. Well, they brought in these 20mm very, very thick strips, and this is literally dead flat. I don't know how they did it. Of course, they're using some filler to get rid of some imperfections, but it's unbelievable. There's one guy that in a comment said, just hurry up and get the job done. Well, have some slight issues, people. This is hull 5. And this is the 80-footer, which has now been married up. boat's only been built for about 4 months, maybe 5 months or 4.5 months. Critical component that's dictating the length of build of this boat is the lead time on the diesel engine. I think it's like 13 months. What a huge boat. And a helicopter is going to live up there. This boat is bloody huge. I heard that this boat is going to be going at 28 knots, people. I don't think the helicopter is going to be on then. I think that's just for arrivals and, you know, departures. Wow. Okay, so that's the update. You know what's going on at the factory right now. Still having issues with customs trying to bring in gear. We've got, I don't know, 4 lots of gear coming in. And of course we need some other sponsors. Anyway, I'm writing my little fingers off, but I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Money's always tight on this channel. That's sailing into freedom. Thank you to the Kickstarters previously that got this project started originally, and thanks to all that have donated in the current GoFundMe campaign. Without you guys, there would be no boat at all, and of course, no hope at all at attempting the Elcano World Challenge. It really is amazing that such a small channel as ours is doing a boat build project as large as this and at the same time as DELOS. Oh, I must admit, we have a very solid core of quality viewers. Top stuff, well done.